Hello and welcome to this BOHS presentation on our Breathe Freely campaign. I'm Neil Pickering, a Chartered Occupational Hygienist, Chartered Fellow of the Faculty of Occupational Hygiene and Chair of the Breathe Freely in Manufacturing campaign. BOHS is a chartered society for worker health protection and represents a discipline and profession of occupational hygiene in the UK. Founded in 1953, we have over 1,400 members, with membership open to anyone with an interest in protecting worker health. Corporate membership is also available. BOHS is internationally recognised as one of the world's leading organisations representing occupational hygiene. But what is occupational hygiene? Health and well-being can be considered as three aspects: promoting healthy lifestyles and choices to improve staff morale and productivity and to deliver well-being. Secondly, managing the health of workers through occupational health. And finally, the science of protecting people from workplace health risks through good occupational hygiene practice to prevent or minimise occupational ill health. That's where occupational hygiene comes in. Occupational hygienists recognise workplace health hazards, and there are many possible health hazards to recognise, evaluate their significance, sometimes using sample equipment or through their own experience, and ultimately we identify and implement practical, robust and effective control solutions. Another way of looking at occupational hygiene is as follows. To manage health and prevent occupational diseases, we have to control risks, which means preventing or controlling exposures. If this isn't done, then the benefits of wellbeing programs are being undone, and health surveillance programs will be picking up damage to worker health, by which point it is too late. Occupational hygiene is therefore in the middle, preventing risk and controlling those exposures. So why breathe freely? BOHS has been around for a long time and provided excellent support to our members in terms of qualifications, events and career development. We've always represented the profession effectively in the world of health and safety and worked to advance the science of the discipline. However, a few years ago we realised we could do more by interacting directly with industry stakeholders. Occupational hygiene holds the key to preventing disease across a wide range of businesses, but in some sectors we had a low profile. So, for the first time in our history, we embarked on a campaign based on external communications. You'll be pleased to know this isn't going to turn into a biology lesson, but we realised that we couldn't address all issues at once because the campaign would be too diffuse. We therefore decided to concentrate on respiratory disease. A few statistics just to whet our appetite. Several years ago, the Health and Safety Executive published this data, which generated a lot of attention and concern. There are 12,000 deaths every year caused by occupational respiratory disease, from exposures to dust and fumes. This is mainly long latency disease with a time lag between first exposure and eventual disease, often being of the order of decades. That makes it very hard to identify and very hard to address if you do so too late in the process. If we look at health versus safety, for those of you familiar with health and safety statistics, and I'm sure you all are, that means that accidents account for just 1% of work-related fatalities each year. So the fatalities, about 13,000 died from work-related disease, so health-related, and just 1%, 147 workers died in accidents at work. Of course, all of those are absolutely important, every single one of them, but clearly we need to do more around health. So we chose respiratory disease as our focus, and we also realised that we needed to concentrate on one business sector. We chose construction for a number of reasons, some of which are explained in the following slides. It's a highly diverse and important sector with 1 in 10 workers employed in the country, making a significant contribution to the economy, and is a sector we're recognised as world leaders in. It's also an industry with a wide range of health and safety hazards to be managed, and it can be a difficult environment in which to manage these risks. Again, a few statistics. You would recognise that for too long we'd been shouting safety and whispering health. UK industry has done a lot of work on safety, and the accident figures have come down. This graph shows some HSE statistics for the construction industry, and the one on the bottom right shows accident rate coming down. It also shows that construction has a higher accident rate than all the industry average, so the lower dotted line is the all industry average. But there has been a steady decline over time, which clearly reflects the great efforts made in construction in terms of improving safety. And anyone that works in the industry would say that it is now safer than it ever was in the past. The top graph, however, shows the health statistics. Although there is possibly some downward trend, it is nowhere near as marked as that for safety. So it's clearly time to take more notice of the health situation. So in the construction industry, 80,000 workers suffer from work-related ill health every year. Construction industry also has the largest burden of occupational cancer in any industry sector, with about 3,500 cancer deaths and 5,500 cancer registrations each year. It's believed that over 500 workers die from exposure to silica dust every year in the UK construction industry. Silica is ubiquitous in the construction industry, so many construction materials contain silica, including sand, concrete and stone products. And any activity which abrades these materials generates respirable crystalline silica, cause of most of the ill health associated with silica. Uncontrolled exposure to respirable crystalline silica causes serious lung diseases, the most significant of these being silicosis and lung cancer. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, that leads to over 500 workers believed to die from exposure to silica dust every year in the UK construction industry. Asbestos is probably the most widely recognised long latency health risk of them all. This is still a huge legacy of disease associated with historic asbestos exposures, and most of this is related to the construction industry. The use of asbestos-containing materials has been banned for many years, but there are still millions of tonnes in situ in buildings in the UK. Sustained efforts by the industry regulator and health and safety professionals have resulted in significant improvements in the control of this risk, but situations still occur in maintenance, refurbishment and demolition activities where workers are unnecessarily exposed. There are also other health hazards which include exposure to wood dust, welding fume and diesel engine exhaust fumes, all present within the construction industry. We realise that employers have a legal duty to protect the health of their employees and have the key role to play in minimising the health risks at work. It's also in their best interest to look after the health of their workforce, especially in an industry where there's a skills shortage. Better control of health risks will improve working conditions and make construction an attractive career choice for new talent coming into the labour force. This will contribute towards delivering the government's Construction 2025 strategy, which will make a significant contribution to the UK economy. It's also the right thing to do, and all the major employers in the construction industry acknowledge this. But to do that, the construction industry needed help. and occupational hygiene is a key part of the solution. To reduce the disease burden, the industry had to reduce exposures to the dusts and fumes which were causing the harm, and this is clearly the territory of the occupational hygienists. This wasn't something that BOHS could solve on its own. We needed external support and sought collaboration with many partners, from construction companies to unions and trade associations to politicians and regulators. As you can see here, we engaged with many people. We launched the campaign in conjunction with our original partner organisations, the Health and Safety Executive, Land Securities, Constructing Better Health and MACE. So over the past 5 years, we've worked to promote our messages through a series of roadshows. We've reached about 2,000 stakeholders who have taken the message back into their workplaces. We've also spoken at numerous industry events and continue to do so, and also for companies that have asked us to come in and present to their supply base and their contractor base. If you want to explore how we can spread the message in your organisation, please do let us know. We're still very keen to get the message spread more widely. All of our resources are freely available from our Breathe Freely website, but please sign up as a campaign supporter if you find them useful. It costs you nothing to do so, but it gives us just that little bit extra impetus with the message that we're carrying. If you're not sure what to do when you've seen the resources, or don't feel competent to assess the risks and determine exposure controls, that of course is where a professional occupational hygienist can help. They can work with you to ensure the steps you take are effective at protecting the health of your workers, and we'll explain how you can find those people later on. The website also has a range of case studies. This has been developed with industry, many of the partners in the process that we've been going through the campaign. But we're also always on the lookout for any new ones. So if you have any ideas for more case studies, or you've got your own, then please do get in touch, and we'd be very happy to hear from you. There are also some useful checklists on the website, which have been developed in conjunction with our construction partners, and much more. So why not visit the website to take a look? As part of the work we were doing, we developed the High Standard. This was developed as a self-assessment tool to help companies manage their workplace health risks by identifying their strengths and weaknesses and potential areas for improvement. This is based around a 6-point framework of good practice with 6 leading indicators, which are 1, leadership and commitment, 2, planning and prevention, 3, risk assessment, 4, control, 5, competency, training and behaviours, and 6, programme management. Those of you familiar with health and safety management standards will recognise that it aligns very carefully with those out there that people use, be that HSG 65 or ISO 45001. Also, by request from the construction industry, we developed some training, and we're particularly proud of this training course, which was developed jointly by occupational hygienists and industry stakeholders. It was designed to provide training for construction site supervisors, so they can better recognise and control the health risks specific to their workplace. The course is called the Certificate in Controlling Health Risks in Construction. It's a 1-day course and results in a recognised qualification from BOHS, which demonstrates a level of competence on controlling health risks in the construction industry. You'll also be pleased to hear that we're in the process of adapting this course to deliver it remotely if that's required. And in the current circumstances, that's certainly likely to be the case. We should have it available very shortly. But we realised that construction was not the only area that needed our help. So although we started with construction, we plan to broaden out into other industry sectors too. And in 2017, we moved into manufacturing. A few more statistics. It's estimated that 4,000 people suffer from a breathing or lung problem caused or made worse by their work in manufacturing in the UK, which is clearly not acceptable. So again, we asked, do you breathe freely? This time in manufacturing. And on the 25th of May 2017, we launched Breathe Freely 2 in manufacturing in London at the Make UK headquarters. The panel was chaired by our president at the time of BOHS, but supported by the chair of the Health and Safety Executive and the chair of Make UK. So a really high profile launch. On the launch, we had a number of partner organisations again. In this case, it was Make UK, the Health and Safety Executive, TWI, the Welding Institute, TUC, Toyota, JCB, and BAE Systems. We decided our initial focus would be on welding, but the other respiratory issues will also be covered in the long run. So, welding fume. Let's look at a few health concerns, the main health concerns from welding fume and the gases. So we estimated that 190,000 workers are exposed to welding fume during the course of a year, leading to an estimated 152 deaths from cancer every year, plus other illnesses such as pneumonia, metal fume fever, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and asthma, all of which have serious health effects on those that are affected. Again, we promoted the tools and resources on the website. We have fact sheets and case studies, assessment and measurement approaches, toolbox talks and guidance to help the duty holders and managers in these organisations to do the appropriate things in terms of control of exposures. And importantly, in this particular case, we've also created a welding fume control selector tool to help organisations that are doing welding to understand how best to control their exposures they're creating through the welding. The welding fume control selector tool asks some very simple questions to help develop an answer for people. So what type of welding do you do? What material are you welding on? How long is the welding taking? How big is the workpiece that is being welded? And from that, an output is generated that provides the best option in terms of the control required for that particular activity. There's also suggestions as to other controls that may be appropriate if the preferred solution is not quite going to work in that workplace. It's free access and easy to use, and even offers alternative solutions if the preferred exposure control option is not practical. And as you can see, it also provides a great deal of detail to help support an effective and appropriate purchase of the right controls, and to make sure that those right controls are designed appropriately too. So, what can you do on Breathe Freely? Well, you're very welcome to use Breathe Freely. It is free. It has the fact sheets we've talked about, the case studies and the guides. And it will help you to identify issues and solutions for the situations you may have within your workplace. We also provide advice on how to get competent help where needed, and you can do that through the BOHS website. It has listings that allows you to identify competent occupational hygienists by geography and by topic area as well. We would also welcome you to join BOHS. As we said before, we promote the science and practice of occupational health and hygiene via its membership. Becoming a member offers the opportunity to increase your knowledge, your skills, and enhance your professional competence. Or, If you have a particular interest in occupational health, it provides you with materials to help you to do so, and of course a network to help you build that competence and interest. So anyone with an interest in occupational health can join BOHS. You'd be very welcome. What are we doing on Breathe Freely at the moment? Well, we're receiving a great deal of interest from outside the UK, and countries like Australia and New Zealand have already adopted our approach, and we're also getting interest from the United States of America. So what's next for us? Well, we're going to update the Breathe Freely website and include an update of some of the materials in there as we go. We're going to develop the tools offered, so the Welding Fume Control Selector tool will be updated over the course of this year, building in more controls and more options for the selection process. We're also working with a number of partners to help us to do that and provide more detailed output at the end. We're also considering other areas of manufacturing and construction as possible areas to focus as part of a campaign. So I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from this presentation. Breathe Freely is an important campaign, and a campaign that BOHS continues to push, because we feel that the health of workers across the businesses is very important, and obviously particularly in construction and manufacturing where we're focusing, we want to make sure that people understand the issues and take the appropriate steps to improve the controls to exposures within their workplaces. Please join us and be part of the solution. Thank you very much.